Welcome to another edition of Brewin on Broad Street. I'm Steve Snyder, entrepreneur in residence here at Gesmer Updegrove, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome my friend Adam Romanow, who is the founder, creator, mind, brilliance behind Castle Island Brewery. Welcome.
Thanks, Steve. It's good to be here.
This is a treat. It's a treat because my hunch is that while the business may have started in 2014, you and I officially started working together then. I have a distinct memory of us meeting for coffee in my office a year or two before. You were a consultant and you walked in with a business plan and you convinced me that you were going to build a brewery.
And I did it somehow.
You have that memory?
I sure do. It feels like a million years ago, but yeah, I certainly do.
You now have a significant brewery in Norwood and a taproom in South Boston.
Yes.
But the second distinct memory I have is while you were looking around for locations, you looked in South Boston, you looked in other places, and you ended up with a very large cement walled building in Norwood. And I remember walking into that building and nothing was there. Nothing except you in a corner with a tiny, tiny little tank experimenting with your making beer, experimenting making beer. Do you remember that?
I do. And it's funny hearing you describe that system as tiny because that system was the largest homebrew system I had ever owned. And now we spill more beer in a day during packaging than that system will make in a month. So yeah, it's I have the memory and we keep that system in the brewery. We use it for special projects here and there, but more than anything, it's a good reminder of where we started.
Eventually, it will go to the Smithsonian.
Maybe. Well, you never say never, right?
And I've been there several times to that location, and you walk in now, and from ceiling to floor, the entire location is filled with kegs and cans and tanks. You can't get much more in there than what you have.
No, and in fact, last month we completed an expansion project outdoors to move all those kegs outside to make room for more tanks inside so we can continue to grow. So
that's a great thing.
It's worth a revisit.
It means you're growing.
We sure are.
So before I ask any other questions, I don't know if it's a surprise, but I have something to show you.
Okay.
In fact, I have 3 things to show you.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
I'm going to reach into my bag over here.
Your bag of tricks.
Yeah. I'm going to pull out 3 things.
Okay.
So do these look familiar?
I think I saw those many moons ago.
Okay. Describe what that is for our audience. Describe what that is.
This is batch 1 of Keeper, our flagship IPA that now accounts for 75% of our business.
001. Show the audience where that is.
Unbelievable.
Do you
batch
see that?
001 right there at the top. These were the first cans to roll off the line. It's before we even put dates on the beer. That's how old
There you
these
go.
are.
What's that one?
And Candlepin, our then Hoppy Session Ale, now our American Pale Ale. Same liquid, just new name. Also batch 001. These are 2 of the first 3 beers to roll off the line. And of course,
and then
this was the third TBD at Hoppy American Stout that we made that was appropriately named TBD because when we brewed it, we didn't have a name for it. And we just went with it. We stuck with it.
Do you have those cans at home?
I do.
So you and I are the only ones.
And probably my dad as well.
You know, these are worth a lot.
At least a nickel each.
No. They're worth much more than that.
What a trip down memory lane. That's crazy. I haven't pulled them out in a long time.
These stay on my bookcase.
That's awesome.
Whenever I have a Zoom call, you will see those 3 cans of beer on my bookcase.
That's great.
I'm very proud of those.
Well, hopefully they'll be right next to the brew system in the Smithsonian someday.
There you go. Well, they could be next to the public offering prospectus or maybe acquisition documentation.
That we could talk about,
Okay, good.
certainly, yeah.
Yes, better acquisition than public offering.
Yeah, we're beer guys. We do things different than public markets like.
Understood. Understood. Tell us about your rapid expansion plans.
It's been a wild ride, honestly. I mean, the first 5 years for us were rocket ship level growth that I don't even think we fully understood until it was behind us. And then, of course, we survived our first and hopefully only pandemic ever. And while the business looks very different today than it did then, really what came out of it is a more robust business with diversified revenue streams. We had to make a bunch of different pivots. Some of them stuck, some of them did not. But we're now in a position where instead of just making beer for wholesale distribution, we are a wholesale manufacturer, we're a direct-to-consumer retailer at 2 different locations. We are in the contract manufacturing business as well. So about 60% of our production this year is going to be brewing beer for other people.
Wow.
Which is an entirely different business line. We've expanded into private label and white labeling beers. We're also in the private events business now across our 2 locations. And then back in December, we actually purchased our first brand. So we purchased the IP for Cambridge Brewing Company, located out of Kendall Square. So we've got a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of moving parts. It was a simpler time 10 years ago when you walked through the door. We had 4 employees then, and we made 2 beers, 3, technically speaking, with Keeper, Candlepin, and TBD. Now we have 7 year-round beers in rotation under the Castle Island flag, 2 more under the Cambridge flag, and dozens of limited time special releases over the course of the year. So we look and feel a lot different, but interestingly, you asked about growth plans. Mm-hmm. Our plans moving forward, because of some of the challenges in the beer market right now, as alcohol consumption is down and beer consumption is down, we are really focusing big time on what's working and leaning into that. In the past, where breweries and brands could operate with multiple SKUs on the shelf and expect all of them to pull through at a similar rate, we're in an ecosystem now where you get 1, maybe 2, if you're lucky, SKUs that really have high velocity. For us, that's Keeper. It always has been and probably always will be. And while the overall beer market is down about 5 to 7%, depending where you are in the country, right now Keeper is up 9.5%.
Wow.
So we are leaning into that hard, and that's where we're finding growth. We're keeping our eyes and ears open for other acquisition opportunities, but it's got to be the right brand. It has to be complementary. There's got to be trajectory or some sort of story there. And so we're slow playing that for sure. I'd love to open additional locations for the direct consumer business. But that again, we're slow playing because it's got to be the right location. We've seen that now where, we're in an industrial park in Norwood. There's 0 foot traffic. We have to drive the business entirely. South Boston, different experience. So we're looking for more opportunities with some built-in foot traffic. So that's kind of what growth looks like. But this business, 10 years in now, continues to surprise me every day. So my answer could change 6 months from now.
So for 16 years, I've co-hosted a monthly event at a bar. And each time the server brings around the list of beers, I quickly say, don't do that, please. Just offer Castle Island Keeper. No other choice.
And does it work?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
We pay the bill. I mean, of course they're going to take the menu away, but
fair enough.
Everyone loves Keeper.
Thank you.
That's my favorite.
Thank you. It's our customer's favorite. Certainly, it works. It pays the bills.
That is really outstanding. And you are as excited today as you were back in 2014.
I would even say more so, honestly. I think I've always loved a good challenge, and where the beer industry is at now, there are challenges that we're working through, but we've got a clear vision, a clear path. Where 10 years ago, we were focused on putting beer in cans and kegs, and those were the biggest problems of the day. Now we get to solve the bigger, more challenging, strategic level questions, and that to me is really fun.
The company has had such growth. You have obviously grown a lot through all of these experiences. It's a roller coaster, as
to
you
say the
well know.
least. Yeah.
Recognizing that it is a roller coaster, what advice would you give to the entrepreneurs in our audience to help them maybe have an easier time
Yeah.
than you had?
The notion of an easier time is a funny one to me, but I'll leave that aside for now. I mean, one of the earliest pieces of advice that I got from my first job out of college, which had nothing to do with beer, was do your homework. That lesson was delivered to me in probably a rougher way than I would deliver it to others, but the point stands. Take your time, get to know your market, know your brand, know your product, know your business inside out, know the competitive landscape, and really come prepared. I'm still shocked by the number of potential startups who come to me in the beer landscape and outside of it and really think they have everything they need to get going, and they're at step 1 out of 50 and they think they're at 49. So doing your homework is absolutely critical. One of the other things that we very quickly had to learn is that a plan is just a plan and nothing ever goes to plan. There's always surprises. We thought we had raised enough money when we opened that we were going to be self-sustaining, and boy, we could not have been more wrong. We ran out
You
of
can
cash.
never have enough money.
We ran out of cash 3 months in. If I could go back and do it differently, we would have doubled the amount we raised and just squirreled it away in working capital. We've learned so much. And the whole way through, every time we've had a plan, we've never nailed a plan. Or even the times when we've executed what we said we were going to do 100%, there's always X factors. There's always things that you're not counting on that are going to force you to, adjust and change tack. And honestly, I think that's what makes us better. And that dovetails into the final thing that I'll say about this, which is don't be afraid to fail. I've seen so many people who are afraid to fail and they freeze, or they make a bigger mistake than they would have if they weren't afraid. But we don't really learn from our successes. Not in the beer business. Really, as humans, we don't learn from our successes. What we learn from are our failures. And so don't be afraid to take that step. Maybe it succeeds, or maybe you learn something.
You must have been reading my mind, because I was going to ask you a question that is exactly what you just said. I often say experiments are a wonderful thing,
Yeah.
because even if you don't get the results you expected, you learn
Yeah.
from the results.
Yep.
Which is also, I believe there's no such thing as failure. Again, we learn from experiences, we
Yep.
can adjust and move forward.
Yep. 100%. We have
And
successes and lessons. There are no failures. That's how I see it.
that's exactly what you described.
Yep.
Wonderful. Amazing.
Hopefully that advice is helpful to someone.
It's truly helpful, no doubt.
Yeah. Well,
No doubt.
listen, starting a business, whether it's in beer or something else, is scary. One of the reasons why it took us so long to finally open our doors in 2015 is because I was scared to take the big step of leaving my job and starting a company from nothing. But it's not going to start if you don't do it.
So thank you for saying that, because I want to know about the pivotal career decision.
Yeah. So I was in, you know this story, but for those who don't, I was in executive compensation consulting, and it paid pretty well. The hours were tough, but it was a good job. But I didn't love it. I was generating PowerPoints and spreadsheets for Fortune 500 companies, which, got to meet a lot of really interesting people, certainly. But I didn't really feel like I was contributing in the way that I wanted to contribute. I left that business in 2010 and decided I wanted to go see what life was like doing something else. I'd been brewing beer on my stove for a while. I'd been drinking a lot of craft beer, but I had no experience with the industry. Someone was very nice enough to hire me as an unpaid apprentice. Go figure, someone was nice enough to not pay me. But that was my only way to get a foot in the door in 2010. And for 6 months, I was an unpaid apprentice and I learned the business. And at the culmination of that 6-month apprenticeship, I had the opportunity to brew a beer under their label, but with my name on it, and serve it and sell it to people. And something incredibly powerful happened to me. I got to see a physical product, a consumable good, that brings somebody else joy. And there is no feeling like giving someone something that they can enjoy and watching their face just light up. And that was just light years better than any PowerPoint or spreadsheet that I ever generated in my time consulting. And I said, that's a feeling I want for the rest of my life. And from that day forward, there was no looking back.
And that feeling is so obviously displayed as you walk in the front door of the Norwood facility and the South Boston facility, the Taproom. I mean, everybody, the entire team
Yeah.
reflects that.
We're very proud of what we do. Honestly, I think that, you know, we give people the opportunity to have an affordable luxury in a place where the pressures and stresses of the outside world do not exist. We are an escape. We are a respite for people. And I love that we can do that for people, because life is naturally stressful. That's part of the human experience. But we get to exist adjacent to that in a world where things are just fun.
You help people have fun.
Without a doubt. And that's important.
And forget their stresses.
Yeah.
And we've had events at your South Boston Taproom. The pizza's fabulous,
Thank you.
but the beer is better. And if you're looking for a place to hold an event, call Adam.
Yeah. We do events.
It's a special
50 people all the way up to 400. We can handle quite a bit.
And the outdoors facility, the outdoor space is gorgeous on a
fantastic.
nice day.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to be there in the snow.
And you don't want to be there in the dead of July.
That's right.
But the shoulder seasons
100
are
degrees
perfect.
and humid, probably not. Although the beer is really cold,
It is. It is.
which is a wonderful thing.
Certainly.
So, in some ways, it's not good to drink too much beer, but in other ways, for instance, if one were training for a marathon, beer would probably be a good thing to consume.
Yeah, it can be a double-edged sword, right? Because alcohol will dehydrate you, but it's got plenty of carbs in it. I find that the best way to cool down after a run is with a nice cold beer.
And speaking of marathons, you have run the Boston Marathon.
Yep, that was my second marathon, but my first Boston was this past April.
Okay, and you're training for
The Marine Corps Marathon this coming it's Halloween weekend, actually.
in Washington,
Down in D.C., that's correct, yeah.
and you may run the New York Marathon.
We will see. Yeah, if I can get a bib through my network, then I will end up running New York this year.
Well, if you get a bib by supporting a charity, let me know,
I will.
and we'll post it on LinkedIn and get you
Fantastic.
funded so that you can get a number.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
it.
you just have to produce more beer to help you train,
Yeah,
properly train for the marathon.
it's a great motivator, I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Okay, so another question that is often asked by our audience,
Yeah.
younger entrepreneurs, probably in their 30s, maybe 40s, how do you balance business with family life, and maybe business training for marathons and family life?
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit it is a lot. It is one of the biggest challenges I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I think that the key is in understanding and accepting that the word balance doesn't mean perfect equilibrium at all times. You get maybe fleeting moments of equilibrium and then it's gone. And the way I really see it is there are all these different balls that you're juggling, and at some point you got to put one of them down to keep the others in the air, and that's okay because you're going to pick it right back up. At a practical level, what does that look like? Well, as the founder, as the CEO, I have deliberately structured us to be a cloud-based company, which I know is not new in 2025, but it's critical. I can work from anywhere, whether I'm on my laptop or my cell phone. I have really focused on building up a key team that I can trust, which allows me and affords me a little more flexibility in my schedule and my availability. It's not to say I don't still put in 60 hours a week. I definitely do, or more, but it's typically not during the hours of 9 to 5. I work a lot of nights. I work a lot of weekends. the reality is you own a business, you're never really turning off the
do what you
brain.
have to do.
You're kind of working 24 hours a day, even if it doesn't look like the traditional forms of work. But I've also found it to be absolutely critical to compartmentalize. And when I'm with family, the phone goes away, the laptop goes away. Set clear boundaries with business partners, vendors, customers that, hey, I'm going to be on vacation with my family. And if the building's burning down, please call me.
Yeah.
But if you need beer, call one of our sales reps. If you've got a question on an invoice, call our controller. I'm taking this time off. And normally that's not the way I operate, when I'm not on vacation, but it's really important to me. Quantity is the challenge, right? It's hard finding quantity of time with my family and time for myself. So when I do, prioritizing the quality of that time is absolutely paramount.
Really important.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
So, what is the one question that I didn't ask you that I should have?
Ooh, man. What about regrets? Everyone's always so slow to talk about regrets. Do I have it? Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
As it relates to the business, do I have any regrets? Outside of maybe not doubling our fundraise
Exactly.
10 years ago. I think the first few years where growth was fast for us, we were not as focused on some of the fundamentals as we should have been. And I think that has created some persistent headwinds for us since, especially where we loaded up on a decent amount of debt that we had to service and pay down over the last 10 years. So, all else equal, if I could go back in time and still be able to harness that growth, but maybe be a little more measured in our approach, that's a decision I would have made differently. But short of that, I can't point to failures. Again, like we talked about, they're all lessons. Everything that we've screwed up, we've come out stronger for.
And while we might have regrets along the way, I often wonder whether I was smart enough to know that I should have taken a different turn or done it a different way.
Yep.
It was through experience.
Yeah.
I wish I had done something, but I probably didn't know at the time.
And that's reality. And to that degree, I think regret sometimes is candidly a useless emotion. It doesn't benefit us. It doesn't help us. So through that perspective, seeing it and saying, we had to go through that to get to where we are today is probably a better way to approach it.
Well, this has been such a treat.
Likewise.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for putting, I'm going to move my coffee cup because you should all see the prop that he has placed here. Yes.
Mom raised me right. Never go anywhere empty-handed.
Drink. There is only one beer to drink. It's Castle Island Brewed.
You heard it.
So thank you, thank
Thanks,
you, thank
Steve.
you.
I appreciate it.
And welcome to another edition of Brewin. Wait. Brewin on Broad Street.
We're doing
Thanks
it
so
right.
much. We're doing it right.
Cheers.